Alright everybody, welcome back to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas. Joining me is Brandon. Let Heavy James say hi.
Hi.
Alright, so we're going to be doing a little speed video commentary here. This is going to be the Batgirl line arts that I drew. I was getting ready to set up for the saucy painting. So this is going to start here in about 10 seconds. He will get going. This is me watching myself draw at 10 times the speed. I'm drawing on 100 pound, 110 pound paper. I get it off just cardstock. So basically I do a roughie in the computer, like a silhouette usually with some details, and then I'll print it out, very low opacity, so you can kind of barely see it kind of around here, you can kind of see around the edges. And then I'm drawing using red mechanical lead here, red mechanical lead, and then I'll finish out the details using copic multi-liners. It's basically the whole process. And this allows me to just, when it's a single character, it's just really fast compared to, say, drawing it entirely digitally and everything. Plus, you know, when they get a commission, people get the line arts and they get the saucy painting on top of it. So you'll see I'll draw with red mechanical lead and then kind of faintly erase it and then work out the details using copic multiliners, usually a .03, 0.05, somewhere around there. And this will go for about 13 minutes, sped up. Brandon, do you have any questions about this process?
No, I think it's cool too, just to think about that people get the line art and then they get a final version. So I thought that was pretty cool that, you know, most people don't give the two versions of it, which is cool when you have them side by side, which I own some original line art and then some Copic stuff that you did. So it's cool to see them side by side.
Yeah, so this also means that it frees me from the stress of ruining all the art. Now, case in point here, I didn't like her face. So that's me throwing away that first effort and trying again. Sometimes, folks, I do completely do that. I just toss it all out and go, well, I can do better. And the cool part about this process is I just print out another copy of my roughie and start again. And it's already set up for me, so...
So why didn't you like that face so much? Was it just...
it's a little hard to see in the video because the limits of resolution, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And if I was able to put the two side by side in the final art up close, you'd be able to see. But it just... Yeah, you gotta trust your instincts sometimes. So, in this case, it just... The lines were uneven, the line quality, they were waving. I didn't really feel like I had a good grasp on the shapes that I was going for. Never really drawn this Batgirl before, so I was working out her shoulder pads, and I wanted her helmet to actually look like it sat on her, not just, you know...
Not flat.
Or just the drawing of a head where you then add Batgirl seam lines.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
We've all seen them. Was there anything you didn't like about the costume design or something that you particularly wouldn't add in a character you did?
Design-wise? No.
Right.
No,
like,
I mean, it's fine. Yeah, sure, her costume's fine. It's just... I just didn't want her to be... This version of the character isn't hypersexualized, so I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I was trying to be very aware of that.
Which is good, because I mean, I think a lot of people will either take a character and just make it super sexual when it's not even supposed to be, or downplay somebody. Like if it's supposed to be like Captain America and they make him too skinny, or you take her, a Batgirl, and I've seen tons of people over-sexualize it big time. So I think it's good to know when to do that and when not to do it, which usually we tend to not make our women over-sexualized anyways.
I get a lot of questions too about my inking process. People wonder, hey Rob, what are you inking? I try to look more like I draw with the Copic pencil more than I ink. You know, like I sort of build the shapes here with the red pencil lead. So I'm building up the shapes and kind of plugging in areas, but I really draw the thing with the multi-liners. Like it actually gets drawn at that point. And I'll use pencil if I want that pencil grit look, you know. Otherwise, I'll stick with the Copic multi-liners because when I'm trying to do fine details, I used to press way too hard with the pencil, and I got carpal tunnel. And
would you break the lead a lot?
Yeah, but not really because lead holders. But what would happen was I would just wear the fuck out of my hand. So I had to teach myself drawing digitally. I was able to teach myself to draw, not pressing very hard. And then once I moved to pens, it was a natural fit. Now the one thing I do is the paper has a little bit of a tooth to it. So when I use the Copic .03 on it, it's not entirely. It's a little transparent when you draw. You know, like you have to. It's not a super solid line. It's not a fat glob of ink, which is nice. It's more like a pencil in a way.
And the multi-liners, they glide across the paper, right? Or do they?
Yeah. They might be a little bit of tooth on the paper, so they glide, but they're not. They got a little bit of grip, you know, so you're not just sliding around.
Right.
So like a little bat symbol, I'm trying to make sure that looks poofed on top of the armor, right? Like it's raised a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm giving her these. I don't know what's on her belt. It's like the Travis Cheris Wildcats stuff.
Ah, yeah, the tubes.
The tubes of lightsabers. Just a bunch of lightsabers. So,
there's things in there. There's flares and pellets and
Skittles,
candy and
Smarties,
iPhone charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed with more so working with you, a lot of chess logos. How many people don't actually take in consideration how they warp around the chest or how they lay on the chest. And I see so many people, they'll just copy and paste the logo. Maybe it's a Green Lantern because they don't know how to draw it. And it just sits so flat. It doesn't curve around the chest.
Yeah, you want to think about your characters as three-dimensional models. You know, there's topography there. It's going over the chest, over three-dimensional topography. And you can see very quickly with the understructure drawings and the Copic multiliners, it looks like she has muscles. She has definition. It's not a flat piece of... Even though it is, there's not a lot of drawing there. I didn't shade anything. I didn't render a bunch of weird, areas. It's just because I've taken those shapes and I've drawn with those shapes in mind, she appears three-dimensional. Yeah, I started doing this Copic multiliner thing a couple years back on accident. Really, when I was trying to draw fast, I was like, I'll just draw with this pen, and I didn't really realize that I could actually do that. So, also, I've got a lot of flack over the years for drawing with multiliners, and now, for my friends who think you have to use a pen and nib and everything, which, I can. And the crazy part is when I go to color this or paint this, I have to take the same drawing, print it back, the cleaned up version, print it back out onto, art paper, and then redraw it with the waterproof inks. So you can't really paint over these because the inks will bleed right out, yeah. I added a little Wayne Tech logo. You can't see it from here. There's limitations on the webcams. They're not the highest resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the camera's sitting about 2 feet above my table, so it's got a little bit of a zoom.
When you used to do the watercolors before, would you watercolor then ink it, or how would you do it before you found that ink you use now?
It was mostly just pencil.
Ah.
Yeah. I never liked the way it used to look. I mean, even now I'm still modifying that. All I'm trying to do now, like I'm adding her lasso and her batarangs and stuff. But this just helps build, well, one is fun for props, but it also helps build, motion, right? I did a lot of 2D animation in college, and I hate animating. But if you can make things move in one drawing, you've succeeded. You know what I mean? You've succeeded in animating.
Right.
One drawing versus 50 of these fucking things.
Right. You got the belt going backwards, the rope, the hair. Obviously, she's jumping out.
I also find when I'm drawing with Copics, I tend to angularize things more. And then when I ink or draw digitally, they're more smooth. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. just the way it is. Here I'm adding little seam lines over the top of her legs and around, you know, those really trendy seam lines. So,
I like seam lines.
Oh, that's not it. We got about how much more here? 3 more minutes. So when you see that little red SketchCraft logo, that's me taking a break and coming back. So, took a break. I don't know. Maybe it was 2 different nights. And I came back and... This piece of paper is 11 by 4. It's 11 by 17, but the area is 11 by 14. I'm drawing her little boots. Comic book boots. That's always fun. I like the little details. So those multi-liners. You know, the one thing about inking with them is that you can work fast. You know, when you have to constantly use the nibs and dip in the ink, you can't move as fast. And the ink doesn't dry, so you gotta be careful you don't smudge your fucking inks. Which I've done. Now I'm adding a bunch of little, like, rivets and stuff across her costume just to help it look more Nolan-esque, right? Or Berlanti, right? Look like Green Arrow. Now I'm drawing this quick background. And this background really is just a silhouette, just shadows. Like I'm just trying to draw shapes into the void. And I don't really care if it's perfect or not because they're buildings, you know? It doesn't really matter. I don't know, man. I see those buildings now in comics that are all computer rendered and it just, I don't know.
All done in SketchUp.
You know, it's one thing if they drew over it, but they would just print out the backgrounds now and I don't know. There's something missing. Can't explain what it is.
Well, there's no character to it. You know, at least you draw this in, you get the whole misshapen pipes, you get the grit, you get dents and marks in it, and I mean, no building is perfectly, like the bricks aren't perfect on a realistic building. You know, there's wear and tear and marks from things hitting it and such. So
now I'm moving to a 0.05 or a 1. I can't remember which. It's one of the thicker ones because I just want to draw really fast. It doesn't have to be so perfect. Yeah, it's probably a 0.1. And you can see this is speeding up because you can't draw this shit wrong. It's really hard to draw this stuff wrong. I mean, as long as you're just drawing basic shapes and adding little details on top.
Did you use any kind of reference pictures, or you just kind of...
No, I got this shit memorized, bro. You draw on one comic book rooftop, you draw them all. So, just bricks and pipe. Well, that's about it, Brandon. That's the drawing. You got any questions? Anything you want to add?
No, I think I've asked it all throughout the thing.
Let's see if we can round that out. Boom. All right, well, everybody, that's about that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or email me directly, rob@sketchcraft. Please subscribe to the channel. As always, we appreciate your support. Yes. I'm about to record another commentary here. We're going to do some watercolor painting. So see part 2 where we saucy this sucker up.
Yay.
Later. Alright everybody, welcome back to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire, and we are doing commentary speed paint for the Batgirl Saucy. Joining me is Brandon, Let Heavy James. Brandon, say hi.
Hello.
Alright, so this is me watercoloring at 12 times sped up. It took like 3 or 4 hours or something like that. So what I've done is I've taken the pencils or the inks that I drew before,